And then I met Jake. And that's
I'm
all.
sure you give Jake his last name. He'll otherwise he's going to get you on the podcast, you know.
Jake who? I don't know any Jake. No. Well, yeah, he always gets me on the podcast.
Yeah, he will.
But it's Jake Duesenberg, who is my partner with the Tea Party Alliance that we're going to talk about in the next.
Nope, that'll be in this one.
This one?
Yep.
Okay. The important thing that I found out is about Jake is when I first met him, I could see in his eyes he had the same thing burning in his belly that I did, and that was a desire to seek the truth and protect freedom. That's why you see our podcast is called Living Free. We both have that burning desire to have that done. He said to me, Jack, I like the North Metro and what you're doing because you make it fun. And he says, I've never watched anybody else lose it so bad on stage you can't speak. And I says, I can't help it. You get what I am. It's not a paid position. I'm a volunteer. But he says, that's what makes it real. And the people you bring are right there with the attendees. Mm-hmm. They're not, they can ask questions. You always made them answer questions, so they can't come with a stump speech or canned speech or something. They had to answer questions that the people asked. Well, Jake's idea was, let's duplicate this. And that was the beginning. We went and did the East Metro, and it took off. And then Jake and I and Tim and Janet was gone, Bruce was still there, and Kirk, we sat down, and Jake says he's got to get some coordinators for the East Metro, too, because it's too big to be in BPOUs, to be in these tea parties, and to carry that.
Yep.
So Jake recruited some coordinators to help him on the East Metro. Then we sat down, Jake and I sat down again. I said, do you know, we have to do this again, Jake. We get an election coming. We can't let happen what happened. And he says, no, Jack, we can do this. Do you know what it takes to do this? And I said, yeah, it's going to take a lot of hard work. We'll probably be putting more hours. But we realized we need resources. And those resources are sound systems, flags, projectors, screens, cables, sound control systems, iPads for running with your laptops, and it went on and on. And so we said, let's do this. Let's start a program. Let's put together a pack and build some resources, and we'll build it around a toolkit. And we needed $8,000 to do it. So Jake and I started knocking on some doors, and we found a businessman that said he'll put up $4,000 if you guys could raise the rest. And he put a time limit on it. So we had to do it in a certain time limit. And we rallied and knocked and made phone calls, and we were able to do it, and that put together the basics for our first toolkit. That was the beginning, and then it took off. And from there, are we talking more about the Tea Party Alliance later? Okay. From there, we grew it into 7 different Tea Parties, and we'll speak about that later.
Okay. Now, we'll just briefly talk about a little bit about what we plan on doing, and then the next show we'll show and talk about exactly the membership and everything. But the speakers and stuff that we had just this past
oh my goodness
2 weeks. I think we'll just give them a clip of that, and then we'll come back to it. So this will be your teaser again. You and me, I do a lot of teasing, but I was there the last 2 weeks. Again, this is going to be showing. So this is June the 2nd and
the 12th.
12th.
Yep.
No, it was the 12th and the 19th.
12th and
Yep.
the 12th we had our normal
meeting.
North Metro meeting. Yep. And again, it's summertime, the weather's getting good, and all of a sudden, bang, here we got a meeting. But the North Metro, normally we'll put in the seats 140 to 200 people, and we had 170 people show up for that meeting. And it's not so much the meeting, it's the stress of putting it together and then setting it up and making sure everything comes together. Well, we knew right behind that as we're planning this one, we're planning 2 other back-to-back meetings, one on the 19th, which is a quarterly event. And at that quarterly event, we had Terry Flower speaking, and we'll talk more about it, and we had Dave Benner speaking, and we had Linda Bell speaking. Those were our educational breakout sessions. But we had Thomas Woods coming, and that was incredible. Now, right behind him, the next evening, we had a fundraising dinner, and then the next morning a fundraising breakfast, and then another program at the North Metro where we brought in Justin Amash from Michigan. So with that being said, we'll go into those meetings a little bit, and needless to say, after I got through church today, I raced home and I took a half an hour nap that I needed badly.
That's understandable. That's
Yes.
understandable. I think we'll go into a little bit of detail on the membership with it, and we've got a couple of things here. We've got about 3 minutes on this that I want to show, but if you can explain, because we kind of, you created the membership after a successful membership already with the NRA. So if you can talk a little bit about that, and then we'll show them a little bit just at the very end, so they'll come in for the next half hour, what some of the products are that come with that membership.
Yep. Well, the reality of communications spans a lot of generations. And I'm not at the top of the generations, even though Jake would say he's the oldest guy in the room all the time and tease me. But we found print media was not just for the elderly people, the old people. Mm-hmm. There is a habit in this country that a lot of reading goes on, either by the bedstand or in the bathroom, to be perfectly frank. And many times people want to have articles in hand, because if you listen to a speaker, boy, you hear a point, you write it down. When you're writing a point, you miss 2 more points. And some of the topics that we deal with as a Tea Party, trying to communicate those topics requires print media. Besides digital media, because there are people that, number one, don't want to be on digital media. They don't want to be on computers, and there's nothing wrong with that. So we made a content-rich magazine, and in these magazines, we have 3 issues out so far. The 4th one's underway right now, but you can see the variety. We had Ted Cruz on the first one. Then we had Sheriff Joel Pio, who we'll speak about. And on the last one, we had Governor Dayton. The idea of those covers are not necessarily much more than like an attention getter to some degree, because I have not been successful in gaining communications with the governor, and I understand that. I don't hold that against him, but still, he is responsible for failed policies in this state, and we want to call him out on it. Sheriff Joel Pio, he's a well-known person, and Ted Cruz, another well-known person. But the magazine has become a part of the membership, and the NRA, $35 a year, you get a magazine, and they protect one right. With ours, we protect and fight for all your rights, and you get a magazine, but you also give 4 quarterly events. And the quarterly events we'll talk about in the next half. Yep. So I hope that helps a little bit on that.
Yep. Nope. I think that is good. And yeah, it in my opinion is the best value in town here, because again, the quarterly events, if you're not a member, costs $10 to get into it, and with $35, and you get 4 magazines right now, and you get it up, the magazines ends up being free. So,
yes, it does.
But and again, it is to bring information. Our whole process, and I'm a member of the Tea Party Alliance. I don't know if I said that before, but we'll get into that. So. That half hour went awfully fast, Jack. We're gonna have to tighten it up on this next one, but
we'll tighten it up, and I won't talk so much.
Well, no, that's good, because that's a good lead into the next one, which we're gonna go into detail. So
that happened with Tom Woods. I looked at my watch, and Jake came up to me. He says, "It's past an hour. There's no questions." I'm going, "Oh my goodness, that went fast."
So look forward to the next one, and we'll see you in the next half hour. Thank you.